Everything scientists believed about the terrorbird was wrong. The size was wrong. The speed was wrong. And the killing method was the most wrong of all. The fossils we understand tell us one story. The fossils we still struggle to explain tell us another story entirely. And somewhere between those stories lies the truth about one of the most terrifying predators that lived after the dinosaurs vanished. 65 million years ago, the age of dinosaurs ended. A massive extinction reshaped life across the planet. Giant predators disappeared and ecosystems collapsed. Many scientists believed that mammals would slowly replace those lost giants. But something unusual happened in South America. The continent was isolated for millions of years. Ocean barriers kept most large predators away. Evolution began experimenting in strange directions. In that isolated world, birds began to grow larger and more powerful. Some of them became hunters. These birds belonged to a family known as Phorusrhacidae. Today, most people simply call them terrorbirds. They were tall, they were fast, and they were built for killing. The largest species stood almost 3 meters tall. That is nearly 10 feet from the ground to the top of the skull. Their bodies were heavy and muscular. Their long legs were designed for explosive running. But the skull was the most disturbing part of the animal. A terrorbird's skull was massive and deeply curved. The beak formed a powerful hooked blade. Instead of teeth, the entire skull functioned as a single weapon. Paleontologists studying these bones realized that the head alone could deliver tremendous force. Early scientists misunderstood how this weapon worked. For years, they believed terrorbirds hunted like ordinary birds. They imagined small pecking attacks against weak prey. The theory suggested a predator that relied mostly on speed. But modern research revealed something very different. Computer simulations of fossil skulls showed that the beak could deliver crushing downward strikes. The structure of the bones supported enormous impact forces. Instead of pecking, these birds likely attacked by slamming the head downward with full body weight behind it, and bone met bone in a single devastating strike. This discovery forced scientists to rethink the entire image of the terrorbird. These animals were not simply oversized birds. They were apex predators that dominated their environment for millions of years. Fossil evidence shows they hunted mammals, reptiles, and smaller birds, and their bodies were built perfectly for that role. The legs of terrorbirds resemble those of modern high-speed runners. Long, powerful bones allowed rapid acceleration across open land. Some researchers believe the largest species could reach speeds close to 60 kilometers per hour. That kind of speed changes everything. A predator that tall and that fast could chase prey across wide prehistoric plains. Once the distance closed, the beak strike finished the hunt quickly. Few animals in that ecosystem could escape. But one mystery continued to confuse paleontologists. If these birds were such powerful predators, then why did they evolve this unusual design? Why replace teeth with a giant beak hammer? Why abandon wings and flight entirely? The answer lies in the strange geography of ancient South America. During the early age of terrorbirds, the continent had very few large mammalian predators. No lions roamed the plains. No wolves hunted in packs. The ecological space normally occupied by mammal hunters remained empty. Evolution filled that space with birds, and the result was unlike anything alive today. One famous member of this family was Phorusrhacos. The species name Phorusrhacos longissimus appeared in early fossil discoveries. It helped scientists recognize the broader group of giant predatory birds. But Phorusrhacos was only one example of a much larger family. Many species existed across South America for millions of years. Some were smaller hunters about the size of a modern human. Others reached heights that rivaled the tallest land predators on Earth. Every version shared the same terrifying design: long-running legs built for speed and a massive skull built for killing. Yet there was another discovery that changed how scientists saw these creatures. Some researchers began noticing fossil patterns that suggested coordinated hunting behavior. Tracks and bone arrangements hinted that multiple birds might have moved through the same territory together. This possibility shocked many paleontologists, because if terrorbirds sometimes hunted in groups, then their power increased dramatically. A single giant predator is dangerous. A group of them becomes something far more frightening. Imagine several 10-foot predators running across ancient grasslands, each one striking prey with a devastating beak attack, each one capable of shattering bone in seconds. Such a hunting strategy would explain how these birds controlled their ecosystems for so long. For millions of years, they were the dominant land predators of South America. But even the most powerful predators eventually faced change. Around 3 million years ago, a major geological shift altered the balance of life on the continent. The formation of the Isthmus of Panama connected North and South America for the first time in millions of years. This event is known as the Great American Interchange. Animals began migrating between the continents. New predators entered environments that had remained isolated for ages. Wolves, big cats, and bears gradually moved southward. These mammal hunters brought new competition. Unlike terrorbirds, these mammals possessed teeth designed for tearing flesh. They also hunted with different strategies and social structures. Over time, the balance of power began shifting away from the giant birds. The fossil record shows terrorbirds slowly disappearing after this period. Some species survived longer than others, but eventually the entire family vanished from the planet. Their age ended quietly in geological terms. Yet the mystery of these predators continues. Every new fossil discovery reveals details that challenge earlier assumptions. Scientists once believed terrorbirds were slow, awkward creatures. Now they understand those birds were powerful runners and lethal hunters. Our image of them continues evolving. Today, when paleontologists uncover the skull of a terrorbird, they see more than bone. They see evidence of a predator that ruled an entire continent. They see proof that evolution can create terrifying designs when ecological space allows it. And they see a reminder that science does not always get the first answer right, because for decades we imagined these creatures as oversized birds wandering ancient landscapes. The truth was far more unsettling. The terrorbird was not simply a bird. It was a predator that replaced dinosaurs. And if the fossils are telling the story correctly, then these animals may have been among the most efficient hunters that ever walked the earth. Which raises a final question. If creatures like this once ruled the world after the dinosaurs vanished, then what other predators from that lost age have we misunderstood? Because the deeper scientists dig into prehistoric history, the more one pattern appears again and again. The past is rarely what we expect, and sometimes the monsters we thought we understood turn out to be far more dangerous than we ever imagined. Even today, the mystery of the terrorbird has not fully disappeared. Paleontologists continue to study new fossil discoveries across South America. Each new bone fragment reveals small details that slowly reshape our understanding of these predators. Some discoveries suggest that certain species were even larger than earlier estimates. Others hint that their hunting behavior may have been more complex than anyone first imagined. Researchers examining fossilized leg bones noticed something unusual about their structure. The joints show signs of incredible stability during high-speed movement. That detail supports the theory that terrorbirds were not simply fast runners. They were built for endurance pursuit across open landscapes. This changes how scientists picture ancient South America. Instead of silent prehistoric plains dotted with slow animals wandering alone, we may be looking at something far more intense, a landscape where giant birds sprinted across grasslands chasing terrified prey. A world where speed and impact determined survival. And when a terrorbird closed the distance, the hunt ended quickly. Yet, despite all this research, many questions still remain unanswered. No complete fossil has ever revealed the exact muscles of the neck and skull. Without those soft tissues, scientists can only estimate the full strength of the beak strike. Computer models provide clues, but the real power of that weapon may never be fully known. The same uncertainty surrounds their social behavior. Some evidence suggests cooperation during hunting, while other fossils suggest solitary predators. The truth may lie somewhere between those two possibilities. Certain species may have hunted alone, while others shared territory with members of their own kind. Evolution rarely follows a single predictable pattern. What scientists do know with certainty is that terrorbirds occupied a unique place in Earth history. Few animals have ever combined size, speed, and raw impact power in the same way. They filled an ecological role that normally belongs to mammals, yet they did it with the body of a bird. And perhaps that is what makes the terrorbird so fascinating. Because when we imagine prehistoric predators, our minds often return to dinosaurs. Massive reptiles with teeth and claws dominate our picture of ancient danger. But long after those giants disappeared, another hunter quietly inherited the throne. A bird, not one that soared through the sky, but one that ruled the ground with terrifying efficiency. And the deeper scientists look into the past, the clearer it becomes that nature does not always follow the rules we expect. Sometimes the next great predator is not a dinosaur. Sometimes it is something far stranger. If you want to see what other predators science completely misunderstood, the next video will change how you see prehistoric history.